Having had my price, I was just teasing with Dr. Ismail and with my CEO to go home because I had my price. I'm so impressed and so baffled and happy to be invited by all this lapse of people from the Bahrain Health and Safety Society, Bahrain Babco Energies. I'm so happy for that I have this privilege to be invited. My background is an orthopedic surgeon. I've been here in Bahrain for over 30 years now. I don't want to sound more old than that. But what really breaks my heart from day one in my practice as a doctor, I had the privilege to be trained by courageous mentors. So I'm used to see accidents and work in different and complex traumas and stuff like that. But really what breaks my heart is to see a mother crying for the death of her only son or daughter because there is no click in a seatbelt. Every now and then we keep seeing that, whether I was trained in Liverpool, in Germany, here in Salmania, it's so much, it breaks my heart. This is what defeats me as a doctor. And this is what makes me so passionate about studying defensive driving. All right. So I'm just approaching the challenges from the point of why we are having a lot of difficulties and suffering a lot of accidents in spite of this complex and sophisticated technologies and amazing campaigns, amazing public awareness, but still we suffer from that. But what is road safety? Road safety is basically strategies to keep us away from having any accidents, focusing on improving, modifying, tweaking the behaviors of drivers, and following the safety and traffic regulations. However, road safety rotates around the 4 E's: enforce, educate, emergency response, and engineering. So, I want every one of you to ask yourself, are you a defensive driver? Or you are a Schumacher, or every now and then overtaking from the right-hand side, cross-roading the yellow line? Are we defensive driving? Defensive driving is basically someone who considers other drivers. He preserves lives, he preserves time, he preserves money, and he creates around him a road community which is so much safe. And he comes to a perfect decision because he believes in one principle: there is no right of way. If I'm even on the highway and it's my right to be on this highway, still, and someone is coming from another entry or another exit, it's still, I shouldn't consider it's not my right of way. It's the right of anyone, because the highways or any roadway is the right for everyone, because the roads is meant to be for all of us. So, driving to save lives and time and money in spite of conditions around you, appreciating the conditions around you. So, this is very interesting. I started to look around in the statistics for Bahrain, Egypt, because I'm Egyptian, and United States, and I noticed something amazing about Bahrain, is the fatalities compared to 2023 is less by 6.6%. It goes from 90 to 84. You got this is very important. However, it's very important to notice that from 903 recorded crashes, there is a mark of rise of 847 in 2023. So there is an increase in car crashes. However, the fatal crashes was reduced from 63 to 60 only. This is a fantastic approach. Total crashes was 903, fatal crashes was 60, down from 63, 2023. And by the way, I had all of this reports from Elon Musk Grok, and different reports, by the way. So, Manama is the center of most crashes and deaths and fatalities. If you look here, 188 crashes, 14 deaths, 105 serious injuries. Mainly Manama area, which is expected, you know. At any place where there is a crowded traffic jams, mixed traffics, you know, high roads, all of this, it's expected to happen that. What is the international debt? Information is power. So in order to visualize our own international data and come to brilliant decisions for improving what we could do better, we have to have data. And most of 30% of road traffic accidents results are fatalities, and serious injuries are 50%, and minor injuries are only 20%. This is an international debt. It's accrued debt. What are the major challenges? You can see. If you see someone like that, we call them an aggressive driver. So, how are you going to deal with an aggressive driver? Someone stood beside you in a traffic light, and he looked you in your eyes, and he started cursing you. What are you going to do? Are you going to fight back? Are you going to insult him? What are you going to do? Big question. They call it aggressive driving. They call it road fury. Another issue here, the two issues in the last two pictures or photos. Death by mobile phone. Up till 2000, the death in the United States was due to speeding coupled with driving under alcohol influence. Beyond 2003, it was more than 50,000 per year, and coupled with death using mobile. And the more you are using the mobile while you're texting, using WhatsApp, using FaceTime, using whatever, the more you are away 2 seconds from your road, then you have the chances of 50% of car crash. Imagine that. So texting is the worst thing. Again, the misconception is that, well, there is no point. Now, our social life is going down. We are reduced to beings using electronics, mobile phones, and I keep asking myself, are we using the mobiles, or the mobiles are using us? So we are moving from holdables to wearables to implantables. So we don't want to be the slaves of a mobile phone. So mobile phone, even if it is on speaker and you are not holding it, your eyes is on the road. However, but your brain is in with the whole concept of chatting and dialogue and stuff like that. Because our brain is not a multitask. You use your mobile phone, you can use different tasks, different maneuvers, but your brain is not a multitask organ. Once you have a complex task, you have to break it into steps. So this is one of the most important, barriers that you can face while you're driving. An aggressive driver using your mobile. Again, look to this guy. What about if you meet this guy and he's on drugs? And still, one of our mistakes as medical doctors is that when we prescribe drugs, sometimes we forget to tell the patient, don't drive that, especially if you're working in a busy emergency room and stuff like that. So please take it as a tradition, as a habit. Whenever you go and have a prescription, ask the pharmacist, am I able to drive? Also, the herbal medication is very important. You have to make sure they are healthy, but it can keep you a little bit relaxed and stuff like that. Also, alcohol. Alcohol is a big problem. Even on the whole globe, it's a global problem. So all these are driving impairment and physical hazards that can face a driver while he is driving. So we have to put this in our mind. Also fatigue driving, lack of sleep. And we have here an expert in sleep medicine, Dr. Abdurrahman. Also, if you're sleepy, people keep, hitting themselves, drinking coffee, having energy drinks. But the best treatment for sleep is to sleep. And this is something important we have to bear in our mind. So, whenever you face someone who's aggressive and angry, remember the three magics of the 3 R's. You have to reflect. You can be in a big meeting and you are a big shot and someone faces you with a question and you cannot answer it. The minute you keep silent for a minute, you reflect, and then you reframe the situation, and then you refocus on your target. So reflect, reframe, refocus. Whenever you face someone who's aggressive, insulted you, keep silent, control your emotions, reframe the situation, play mind games on your mind. Say maybe this man is psychotic, this man maybe he has a psychological problem, this man maybe has a perseverance, maybe this man has a problem in Salmaniyah, his mom is sick. So always try and find an excuse and then refocus on your main target, which you arrive to your own destination safe. This is very important. So, seatbelts. And I have a funny story about seatbelts. But seatbelts has proven, according to the recent research carried in Chicago by the National Safety Council, 70% success. And we have a very common statement in the emergency room in Salmaniyah, where the man who is not wearing a seatbelt and he has a flip-over accident, you never see him because he goes straight to the morgue. And if he's lucky, he might be in a coma and we never know when he can wake up. But the man who is wearing a seatbelt, most of the time, he will come walking to the emergency room and asking you to do an x-ray. And I have a very funny story. The idea and the brilliance of the seatbelt is that it keeps you in the most convenient and safe place of the car, which is the car cabinet. Because an accident has 3 stages. External, which is the exterior of the car towards the wall, towards another, and the internal accident, which is what happens to the passenger inside the car, and internally, what happens in your body between the 2 fixed points, which is the rib cage and the spine. And most important thing, we forget that it is your responsibility to keep everyone restrained, especially the one in the rear seat. Because whenever there is a frontal impact and this rear-seated passenger is not restrained, he will travel like a bullet and he will hit the driver in his neck and he can die, although he's wearing a seatbelt. So please wear seatbelts. Speeding. We know speeding, and I'm happy here in Bahrain that they have this beautiful traffic adaptive management system in speed limits. Maintenance problem. We have always to update the safety and vehicle safety. Road design. We don't have any road design issues in Bahrain because it's the roundabout system, the one-way system. The traffic lights, that's fantastic. Technology. What is the emerging technology? We will talk about that. First of all, this is the role not only of the traffic directory, it is the role of the public, is to follow the regular enforcement law. Effective traffic laws are essential in regulating the driver behavior. If I don't have law, I don't have a regulation, nobody will be able to control me. It's not about controlling, it's about regulating your own behavior. Because most of us, sometimes I keep asking myself, I know the regulations, I know how to drive, but why I just cross the red light? Why I do this violation? Although I know most of this violation, it comes from intelligent people. And we keep asking from behavior psychological point of view, why is this happening? Still, it is investigated. So, the emerging technology, automation is coming. And the advanced driver assessment assistance management system. Brilliant. You're driving a car, instead of having a visual field of 180, you have a visual field of 360, using radars, sensors, system fusion. They collect the data. This data is gone to an AI system, and this AI system translated to you as a driver in order to respond, or it can interfere. So the automation now, it has different level. Level 5 is total automation. Level 4 is the automation which is carried now on in Abu Dhabi with the taxis, but still in certain areas, we call it a geo-fencing areas. So this is a very important point, which is the advanced driver assistance management. Also, adaptive traffic lights. Brilliant. Also, the inductive loops. Also, different traffic trackers where I am able to classify the different and identify the patterns of the traffic. So data is very important, and from where I take all of this data? From reports, from surveillance, from accident reports, and then I collect it, I have a big data, I start doing an analytic studies. So, in Mashriq, we had a success story. 2 years ago, we started a program for heavy vehicle with Bahrainis from different education levels, and we trained over 400 Bahrainis in collaboration with the Labor Department and Tamkeen. So this reflects a global education program in collaboration with Tamkeen, and it is an initiator, and it also initiates and encourages and empowers defensive driving. What are the challenges? As the brilliant key speaker Nikat mentioned, the infrastructure, the traffic routes, all of these are challenges, global challenges, that it should be borne in the mind of the people who are dealing with these situations. Best practices, I believe from this year we are going from automation to expected growth, projected increase in road safety technologies, and implementation of safety policies. I want to just summarize. I'm coming to the summary. What are the challenges? If I come to the behavior, I would say speeding, aggression, distraction, and impairment. If I come to the infrastructure gaps, it's probably in the road design and poorly designed roads, and vehicle safety. Maybe we have an outdated safety system checking. Safety is not a gadget. It is a state of mind. It is a belief. It is an investment. It's an equal port. It's a lifestyle, by the way. And here is what I want to conclude my talk. Are you a defensive driver? If you look here, this is the formula. R-U-A. R, recognize the hazard. U, understand the defense. A, act correctly in time. So, the defensive driver is the driver who has the talent, the capability, the ability, the competency to identify the hazard, to understand the defense, and act correctly in time. So what are the 10 commandments of defensive driving? Number 1, please wear your seatbelt. Number 2, evaluate the driving condition. Avoid impaired driving. Use the what-if strategy. The what-if strategy is the strategy that you keep on doubting yourself. What if this guy comes back? What if someone intersects on me? What if this guy in front of me, he had a sudden brake? Avoid distracted driving. Maintain emotional control. Avoid fatigue driving. Maintain a proper, safe following distance, which is the 3 seconds. The ROSPA recommends 2 seconds. The National Safety Council recommends the 3 seconds. I like to go with the 3 seconds because I'm an old man and I like to be a little bit, coward in this situation. Always have a plan and consider other drivers. And this is the conclusion. Road safety is a multifaceted. It doesn't fall on one category. It doesn't fall on the government. It falls on the public sector. It identifies the behavior, how we prevent road traffic accidents. It's a global approach. We need an effective policy enforcement steered by the global initiative. We need innovations such as the advanced driver assistance systems, and with stakeholder cooperation, meaning we need the private sector to have a word with us. And probably I would love to thank you, all of you, and have a great day. Thank you.